You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. Feels like I just saw you guys not too long ago, breaking down the free agency period so far. But right now, I'm joined by a very special guest, NC State wide receiver, Thayer Thomas. How's it going today, Thayer?
It's going good. Just wrapped up some of my training for my pro day. It's kind of winded down, but it's been good today.
Awesome. Well, how's your training been going so far?
Yeah, it's been going good. I'm in Fort Lauderdale at a place called XPE. It's Tony Lavalani and Matt Gates kind of run the place, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to train down here for the last 2 months. I'm with like top tier receiver guys like Tank Dell, Jordan Addison, Josh Downs, Jaden Reed, and some others. Put together a pretty good receiver class that come down and train down here. Unfortunately, I didn't get the combine invite, so I've been down here a little bit longer than those guys. They actually left. And so I sort of timed it up where I could leave right before my pro day. So that's next week. So I'll be leaving next week. So it's been good.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I thought it was on the 28th, but next week. Okay. Do you know what's the actual date?
It is on the 28th. I'm leaving next week.
Okay.
So I'm leaving like 5 to 6 days in advance of my pro day.
Okay.
And so I'm going back to North Carolina then. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, look, these interviews, they're a chance for, fans to get to know you, people who maybe haven't heard of you before to get to know you, things like that. We'll just get right into it. I'm very curious about your time at NC State. I know that you grew up in Wake Forest, correct?
Yeah.
And so
I did grow up there.
Yeah, so that's also North Carolina. You went to NC State. Was there a driving factor behind you wanting to stay local?
Yeah, it was always a positive factor that I'd be in my hometown to go to college. Basically, I mean, Wake Forest is 25 minutes from downtown Raleigh, so it's really close. And then the other thing is I didn't really have any other opportunities elsewhere to go anywhere else, honestly, for football. But I did have some opportunity for baseball coming out of high school. But yeah, for football, I really didn't have many opportunities out of high school as far as playing in college.
In being from North Carolina, can I assume you're a J. Cole fan?
I like J. Cole. I do like Drake though. But it's 3 days after my pro day. J. Cole holds a festival. It's called Dreamville every year. And this year he's bringing Drake, so I'm definitely going to be in attendance for that. It's going to be in Raleigh, so it should be fun.
So you're bigger a Drake fan than J. Cole fan?
Yeah, but J. Cole's definitely in my top 5 for sure.
What's your favorite J. Cole song?
I like the whole Forest Hills Drive album.
Classic.
I mean, that's just one of my favorite albums. I can't really pick out a song from that album, but that's my top album for sure.
That's a good one, full of classics.
Yeah.
Well, you joined the football team as a walk-on in 2017. Tell me how that came about.
Yeah, so in high school I played 3 sports. I played baseball, basketball, football. And I was actually more recruited in baseball and basketball than I was in football up until my senior year. I was kind of underdeveloped coming into high school. I was like 5'6", 110 pounds. And by the time I left, I was, close to 6 foot and about 165, 170. So really I was way bigger than I was, but I wasn't, huge. But my senior year, I was like all conference, all region receiver. And my head coach was Dwayne Washington, who was once a rookie of the year of the NFL. He played in the league. And then my receiver coach in high school was Torrey Holt. Everybody knows who that is. So I had really good coaches in high school. And then, they had connections at NC State just because they played there. And so there was one game, I was leading the area in receiving, but I still was kind of didn't really know how much it really meant. I still was kind of just focused on playing baseball in college, but I was enjoying my last year of high school football. But Dave Dorn, our head coach, was coming out to one of our games because we were playing an opponent that had a lot of other D1 recruits we had a lot of D1 recruits on my team. Like my quarterback went to Duke. My brother was our starting middle linebacker at NC State. He was on the team. Our running back was a NC State running back, Ricky Person, and then we had a bunch of other guys. So he was there, and I ended up having a really good game. And I mean, talked to coach about it. He said I was the best player on the field that night. And so like he went up to the coaches after the game, was like, "Who's number 5?" And they told him that I didn't have any offers at the moment, and I was kind of leaning towards playing baseball. And he asked them if they thought that I would come walk on or be a preferred walk on. And he didn't have any scholarships to give out since it was so late in the process. Like if you don't have any offers about your senior year, you're kind of, it's not a great situation for you. And so I kind of had to just have faith in myself. And if by the end of the year, I kind of just I always loved football, and I kind of proved to myself that I could play at a high level. And so I kind of was still in the air about it. And by the time like 3/4 of the way through my senior year, I kind of was just like, I'm gonna go that route, and that's how it kind of came about. So.
That's crazy, because like it seems like you're kind of like a late bloomer to football, right? And the fact that you've been able to make so many strides in football in such a short amount of time, I think says a lot about how you can continue to grow. I mean, I saw a clip that was posted on Twitter, originally from TikTok. I think you might have posted it, just running the filthiest routes for like 30 seconds straight. So has that always been a strength to your game as a football player? Or has that been something that you've grown in this short amount of time?
I've definitely grown like in my route running. I have always had a knack of getting open, and my hands have been always, great for me. But when I got to college, I really like my college receiver coach really, kind of got it through my head that route running was like a form of art. And I had him by my side. I was actually able to work out a lot with Ricky Prohl throughout my years in college because I was friends with his sons. And so just like trying to be crafty, because like I think everybody can become a better route runner, like regardless of like how athletic somebody is. Like it's route running and being a receiver is all about creating separation.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where I improved my game the most from year to year, is just my ability to create separation. And then like I really like a moment for me was like when I saw Hunter Renfrow catch that game-winning touchdown in the national championship. Like before that, you obviously had Julian Edelman and like these smaller type receivers, Cole Beasley, that paved the way for guys like me. But like when he did that, especially as a walk-on that he was, it kind of like gave me like hope. And then I just started following him, and like I just started studying guys. Like for me to be successful, I have I have to create a lot of separation, and I feel like I've really done a lot of like good things as far as getting my routes a lot better. And I post them on TikTok just because like people can see me, obviously my game highlights, but like I feel like I'm more than that. Like I feel like I've barely touched the surface of what I can do. Like my time at NC State was great, and I'm second all-time leading receiver there, but like I still felt like there was more I could have done, and like just different things I could have done more of, just based on the opportunity I was given at certain times. Like it didn't pan out that way, but I feel like if the right team gets a hold of me, I can definitely continue to improve and be a really good receiver in the league.
Well, I definitely get that sense as well. And so like, would you say that like, players like Renfro or Beasley, some of those guys you mentioned, those guys that you kind of look to model your game after?
Yeah. I mean, I think of latest, I think Cooper Kupp's another one. I mean, I'm not just saying that just because they're all white, but I think just having somebody that like, for me to look at Tyreek Hill and like I can't model my game after him. Like that's like a freak of nature of a player. Like obviously I'm very realistic of the type of player that I am. Like, but the thing that's different between me and I think Beasley, like Renfro and some other guys like that, like I'm 6 foot and some change. I weigh like 200 pounds. Like I'm actually pretty big. Like so those guys are a little bit smaller than I am. And I think that's going to help me out. And I think I'm stronger. So I just feel like, I'm excited to do pro day because I'll be able to prove some of that stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
And so you mentioned like, you've played several sports in your time. What about those sports? And I'll mention them again, baseball, basketball, and you even did some gymnastics as well, too. How much of those do you think stick with you today and have made you a better football player?
Yeah, I think it's helped me in my route running. Like I was a point guard, and you know, my I led my I have the career assist record in my school at high school. Like I'm like I translate different sports to playing football. Like my ability to create separation is my ability to cross somebody over in a
Hmm.
basketball game. Like I've been able to translate some moves and like, I think it really translates my lateral side to side quickness is like playing defense in basketball. But like I think just being very well rounded has helped me in a way. And then obviously playing outfield and tracking, fly balls is like tracking punts in the air, and I'm a punt returner. And just tracking the ball in general, having good eyes. I think it all correlates.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned this, the special team contributions you make as well. You can do punt and kick returns as well as coverage. Do you have a preference whether you're the returner or whether you're on the coverage unit?
I mean, uh, I think that being a returner is a little bit more unique of a skill. Like
Yeah.
especially punt returner, like not everybody can go back there and make good decisions, catch every ball, and then obviously average 10+ yards of return, which I was able to do in college. Like that's, I feel like I was a starting punt returner for 4 or 5 years, so um, it's hard to do, and I feel like that's only going to help me, find a spot in the league. Like,
Yeah.
I think, they throw guys back there that are, whatever, but I feel like I have a knack of getting yards and making good decisions and tracking the ball well. But I think I'd rather much do that because I think they can throw. I mean, you can throw anybody on a coverage team, and I think a lot of people can go make a tackle. But like, I think it's more unique to be able to return the ball, and make good decisions, catch the ball, and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I mean, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? All the receivers, all the running backs, or what have you. Um, when I watch you play, to me, like you strike me as like a quarterback's best friend on the field because you're like the kind of receiver that I think can be a very good like safety net for any quarterback because you can get open for him when needed, or even if it looks like you're covered, you just have a way of coming down with the football and making those tough catches look easy and routine. Um, when it comes to film study, what are some of the things you look for in your opponent?
Yeah, I kind of look, obviously, you obviously want to know what type of defenses they run, because um, obviously each route is different based on the defense they give you and present. And so like a lot of with like if you know where guys are going with zone defenses, then you kind of know where the open zones will be, and you can get there a lot quicker and a lot faster because running routes is all about spacing and timing.
Yeah.
But like then you go into the aspects of man-to-man coverage. I mean, obviously man-to-man coverage, but each person has a different types of technique that they use. So when I'm looking at an opponent and a guy that starts for another team that I'll be going against, like say I'm playing in the slot, the first thing I'm going to do is look at the nickel, because a lot of the times when I, am playing when they're playing man, I'll be matched up on him. And so like I'll look at his different techniques. Does he give me ground as I attack him, or does he really like to stay square at the line of scrimmage and use his hands and not give a lot of ground? So I look at things like that. People like to say like when you are a receiver, like how are the corners? Like for me, like I played a little bit outside, but like when I'm in the slot, like I really don't have to. I don't worry about the corners. I worry about the nickel, the sometimes even the linebackers, the way they try to reroute me on different routes and stuff.
Mm.
But I mean, when I play outside, obviously I worry about the corners. But yeah, that's kind of the way I go about my film study.
Yeah, I know that a lot of like nickel corners say that's like one of the toughest spots on the defensive play because there's just so much space, so many possibilities of like where the receiver could go. So you prefer to play at the slot rather than the outside?
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and like limit myself to my ability and what I can do, but I just feel
Right,
like
of course.
my best game is definitely in the slide. That's where I feel like I give the team the best chance to win, and where I could help the team the most.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And you participated in the Shrine Bowl. Congrats on that, by the way. Um,
Thank you.
how did it feel to get that invite?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of weird. I played in the Hula Bowl too, and I got kind of invited late to the Shrine Bowl. So I didn't get to go through as many practices as the guys, but I mean, it was cool when I got out there. I played about 25, 30 snaps after getting there late, which is like I learned the offense really fast. But it was just cool being around like a lot of the same minded type guys, and we're all trying to get to the same place. And I mean, I was coached by the Patriots organization. I mean, Bill Belichick was in my locker room after the game when we won. Like, it was cool. Like,
That's awesome.
but I mean, my brother was on my team too, so that was the cooler part. So
yeah, I was gonna ask you about your brother because like I think it's so cool and unique that you guys are kind of going through this this next step, this next phase of your life together. Like how's that been for you being able to experience that with your brother?
yeah, like I mean, this year we were supposed to have a lot of better. Like, we were a top 10 team, and then our quarterback got hurt, and so the year didn't go as planned. Like, we had hopes of going to the ACC championship, etc. But man, at the end of it, me and him still did our thing. Like, he was defensive player of the year of our team. I was offensive player of the year of our team. Having that was really cool. And then, we both signed at the same agency. And then he decided, obviously, he signed at the same agency, so he decided to leave. So we obviously are coming out at the same time. But yeah, it's good to have somebody that you're with every day. Like, we are sharing a room right now in Florida. We're with each other every day. It's been good. I think we're both kind of just eager to get back and do our pro day, and because we're kind of training right now to be a track athlete and like test well and like stuff like that. And so I think we're both kind of ready to do that and then move on to becoming training like a football player again a little bit.
Right. It is definitely like different training because you might even cut a little bit of weight to get a little faster. Like, yeah, it's definitely different. Going back to the Shrine Bowl really quick though, because like I know for a lot of guys, those all-star like bowl games, it's kind of their first introduction to NFL coaching for some guys. But I know, you mentioned that at NC State, you've worked with a lot of former NFL players as your coaches. So do you feel like that kind of helped you with make that adjustment and you feel like that's going to help you at the next level?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've heard the language of how pros go about things for a while now.
Yeah.
Just being around that in high school, and then I feel like NC State does a great job of preparing guys for the next level and being professional and going about your business a certain way. And we have a lot of guys in the league, and so and just referring to those guys as well. Like, I played with a bunch of NFL guys too, so I always refer to them and talk to them, get advice. I mean, my closest friend is Naheem Hines, so he's been a really good guy to have in my corner. Also, TJ Graham. I mean, Mike Glennon's throwing for me for my pro day. I mean, because we're pretty close. And Devin Leary transferred to Kentucky. So, I mean, he was supposed to come out with me. But since I don't have a quarterback to throw to me, I asked him, and he said he would. So he's going to throw to me on pro day. And so just having guys like that in your corner, I feel like is going to definitely put me ahead of some people. And just the way I've learned the game is definitely, I think, a little bit ahead of some people.
Yeah, no, that'll definitely give you a step ahead at the next level. You've had a chance to talk to some teams at this point. I assume. What's some of the feedback that you've gotten from teams so far? What's their consensus on you?
Yeah, I think that a lot of them understand. Like, this year, like, I was on pace to have 1,000 yards probably, and with 7 games left, my quarterback tore his pec. So throughout the last 7 games, I had 4 different quarterbacks. We played 4 guys. So, I mean, I still had the best year production-wise that I've had, catches and yards-wise. But, I mean, it still wasn't to what I had planned. Like, I mean, I was honorable mention ACC, but, like, I just think it would have been a lot different if I had my guy the whole year.
Yeah.
So teams understand that, and they obviously know I also punt return and stuff like that. And, I mean, I've been consistently getting a lot of good production throughout college. So, I think they're eager to see what I, how I run, and because I feel like that's always a question mark is how fast somebody is and stuff like that. But I think the general consensus is like that I'm a day 3. Obviously, if I'm a draft pick, it's going to be a day 3 guy. There's some teams that have me as a priority free agent, so I would say there's a mixture of both. I'm hearing a little bit of both of we have a draft grade on you, we have a priority free agent grade on you. So, but I'm pretty realistic. Like, I know if I'm drafted, it's going to be day 3. So I'm just excited for any opportunity I'm given. I mean, obviously, I hope I get drafted, but then again, if I don't, it's not the end of the world. I've walked on and I've made my career with literally nothing. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of used to that. So if it goes either way, I think I'll be fine.
And you have met with the 49ers at this point, right?
Yeah, I did. It was a phone call. I mean, I haven't met with
Okay.
him face to face, but it was a phone call with one of the scouts. Don't know who exactly. I forget who it was exactly, but it was over the phone a few weeks ago. So, I mean, I think it was just, it went well. I don't know exactly. I haven't done my research as far as what the 49ers needs are, but yeah, it went pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, as far as needs, I feel like you'd kind of fit the bill definitely of like a Kyle Shanahan offense because just due to his like creativity, I feel like he'd be able to do a lot with your skill set. And I know you'd be happy being drafted by any team, but knowing that the 49ers have this offensive genius and Kyle Shanahan and all these different offensive weapons, hypothetically, what would it mean to be drafted by a team like the 49ers, be able to learn under some of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, you have a historic team. You have a team that's already really good, and I just would, try to fit in as best as possible and help the team win whatever I could do. But I mean, it would be an honor, obviously. I mean, you have Christian McCaffrey, obviously Debo Samuels, um, and you also obviously on the defensive side of the ball, he has some dudes like Bosa and some other guys. But yeah, I mean, playing in San Francisco would be cool too. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. We have one question in the comments from CG Ruthless. He says, "What was your best game you played against?" So, maybe if no one has seen you before, no one's heard of you before, what is the one game you would say throw that one on?
I mean, there's a few. Like, I don't know. Like in 2020, I had 10 plus catches, 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards in one game. This year I played good against Clemson. I had like 9 catches, close to 100 yards, but I didn't score that game. I don't know. There's a few games you could go to. I would say Syracuse 2020. And I would say this year I had a really good game against Virginia Tech. Um, I had like 120, 2 touchdowns, and I think 11 catches. And then I would say one more, 2020 Florida State. I had like 140, 2 touchdowns, and 13 or 14 catches. So like, there's some games out there. I mean, yeah, it's hard for me to choose because I was in college for so long. But yeah.
Well, that's not a bad thing. Having too many to choose from is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
Look, I have one last question for you before I let you get on out of here. What is a team? What is a fan base getting with Thayer Thomas, both on and off the field?
I think the fan base, the team is going to get somebody who is a grinder. Like there's not many people that I would say work harder than me. And I love the game and I love football and I love the process. And you're gonna give someone that I give my all every single day. So very consistent player, and I'm looking forward to showing that to whoever gives me the opportunity.
Yeah, great answer. Thayer, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I know this is such a busy time for you. You mentioned like you just came from training, so go on and rest now. This has been a pleasure. And good luck on your pro day. It's on the 28th. We're gonna be locked in. I'm gonna be checking Twitter, see how you do. Be rooting for you, and definitely rooting for you beyond that as well. And we'll be following along.
Thanks for having me on here. It's always a pleasure, and appreciate. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And thanks so much to everyone who tuned in. If you enjoyed this interview, make sure you give this a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. There will be plenty more content like this to come, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. But for now, have a great rest of your Monday, people. Peace.
See ya.